So this use case is all about, checking the functionality of set variable and append variable in Azure Data Factory pipeline. So what we are going to do is we are using a scenario which is named as logging processed file name. For example, if you have n number of files, okay, uh, and you should have to check which file is processed. Okay, so we will be using this concept to understand the basic functionality of set variable and append variable. Okay, so what is our approach? So we will use set variable to store current file name which is processed, and we will use append variable to maintain list of file processed. So as we know, set variable is only used for uh, all the type of variable excluding array. If you are using array, means if you are using list of files, then you will use append variables. Okay, so what we have to do is in our ADF pipeline we will define two variables, okay, at pipeline level. So we have a current file name and processed file list. Current file name is of type string and processed file list is of type array. Okay, so we will have to create two pipeline variable first of all. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to go inside the pipeline. I will create a pipeline. I will give a name like pl underscore set variables. Variables we can put like sorry, I should give this one log processed files. Okay, log processed files, something like that. Okay, this is the name I have given. Anyways, so at pipeline level, this is the pipeline level, this is the variable option. I'm going to create two variables. One is for current file name, okay, and another is for, so current file name will be of type string, okay, and processed file list, because it is a list, right, so it will be of type array. Okay, so this is what we are doing. So it will be of type array. All right, now what we are going to do is we are going to create a pipeline. So we will be using get metadata activity. Okay, and what's the meaning of get metadata activity? It will fetch the file names. Okay, we have used it earlier. So we will use get metadata activity to retrieve the list of files. We know we have something known as field list in this get metadata activity, where we can use child item to get the name of the files. Okay, and after get metadata activity, we will use for each activity, means we will iterate over each and every name of the file. Okay, so within the for each activity, the output of get metadata will become input of for each activity. Okay, in sequential manner. And inside for each activity, we will process each file. Okay, so inside for each activity, we will use this set variable option. Okay, we will put set variable as one of the option, and we will store the current value of the file. Okay, fine. So but before going to that, we should be having some file ready. So first of all, we will go to our storage location. We will check our containers, and we have an input one, so we have only one file is there, right? So let me just add some files. Okay, just a second. So now we have a directory. Inside the directory we have three files, sales files 1 2 3. Let's check the data inside these files. Okay, and So no, that's down. Oh, sorry. Instead of downloading, you can go inside this edit option and check for the data, right? So we have 20 records in sale 1. We have another, I think, 20 records for sale 2. Okay. And we have third one is sales 3, sales file 3. Now what we are going to do as per our case use case, first of all we will use get metadata activity to fetch the file name. Okay, and we know how to use this get metadata activity. We already have a two variables, current file name and process file name. Now we have a get metadata activity. So in this get metadata activity, what we can do, uh, we can use child items. Okay, so we will have to create a data set. So data set should point to this location, process file folder, right? So what we are going to do, we are going to create an ADLS gen 2 data set, and because it is of type CSV, right, so we will be using CSV, and then we will be just giving the dataset name as ds underscore, because we are pointing to process file location, right? So I'm going to use input process file location just to make sure that everything looks logical. Okay, process file, and we are going to use our ADS Gen 2 link services. Okay, it's disabled, so we will have to enable this. I will have to enable this. So I will hit on this pencil icon and I will be using this apply. Okay, let me check. It should be enabled. Okay, virtual network. So the first time we need to do this configuration all the time, right? So it is enabling. It will take some time. So let's wait for that. Okay, it looks that it is enabling, right? Okay, it is enabled now. So what we are going to do, we are going to choose choose our directory using this browse option, and we can go inside our input container. Where we will see our directory, right? So we are not going to select any one single file because we need to fetch the list. Okay, so we will hit on OK, and we will use first row as a header because this is the input. Okay, everything looks good here. Now we will have to choose this field list as a child item, because child item will give you the name of the file, so it will create a list. So we have three files here, right? So it will give you the list of these three files. If you want to check, what you can do, you can just hit on debug to check the output. Okay, so once it is completed, you would be able to see the JSON query, and in that JSON query you would be able to copy and paste that JSON query in a notepad file for your future reference. Okay, I think, let me check if we have done some problem. Okay, this is looking good. Okay, it's taking time, so ideally it should not take so much of time. So let me check if it is running properly or not. Okay, now it is succeeded. So let me check the output. I'm going to copy this output here and will paste in any of the notepad file, or I can use notepad plus plus also because it's a JSON code. So I always prefer using notepad plus plus, right? And I can go inside the language, put the J and put the JSON, right? So you can see that this child item contain two elements, name and type. So name will give you the name of the file, okay, and type will give you the if it is a file or anything else, right? So you can see the list has created which is having these files. So this get metadata output is this one. Okay, so it's always a good idea to save this output Okay, now what we are going to do is we are going to use a for each activity, because we are selecting one of the file, doing a copy, and then setting up the variables. Okay, so this is our agenda. So what we are going to do is, first of all, we will create a get metadata list using get metadata activity. Okay, so list is having three files, like we have a sales one, we have a sales two, we have a sales three. So these are the three files. Now what we will do next is we will be using for each loop. Okay, so what for each loop will do, it will use one single name or one single file one at a time, and on the basis of that, what we will do, we will be using there are two variables. One is current file, okay, and another one is processed file. This is the pipeline variable that we have created, and that is the reason we are doing this case study, right? So what we inside for each loop, we will be using one set variable. Okay, and this set variable is only meant for current file. Okay, so right now the data inside current file is empty. There is no data available in this file. So what we are going to do in this variable, we will set the first name. The first name is sales1, right? Sales1 dot csv. This is the first name, and then it will do a copy activity. So it will copy the activity, copy the file in some output folder, and at the same time it will append the variable in the we will use append variable also within the after copy activity, and we will be appending the value in the processed file variable. So because processed file is a array type variable, this set variable is a string type variable, and you should know that whenever you are using set variable, it will be helpful to add any value inside the variable only for the variable of type other than array. If you are using array type variable, then you have to use append variable option. Okay, so we are going to check all these things. Anyways, so what we have to do is we have to first add a for each loop quickly. Okay, and output of this get metadata will become input of this for each loop. Okay, so you can see this activity is done, this part is done. For each loop, add for each loop, and what we are going to do, we are just using the output of the get metadata activity as a input. Now we will use we will use the setting of the for each loop to sequentially use the name of the file, right? So if you hit on this for each loop, you can see, you can just put the setting. This is sequential. Okay, and what item you have to look, you have to use add dynamic. And what is the because you need name of the file, right? So how you will get the name of the file, if you hit on this option, okay, get metadata one child items, because this will give you the name. If you see this, and inside child item you should be having name as one of the things, right? So dot name. Okay, name you can avoid. Okay, no problem. Yeah. So this is done. And inside activity of the for each loop, what you will do, you will use set variable, because you want to inside for each the first activity will be set variable. It will store your current file name. Okay. So what you have to do, you have to click on this pencil icon and you have to use this set variable. Okay, and inside the set variable you can just define set value of current file, value of current file, current file. Okay, fine. And in this setting, what you can do, you can select that variable current file name. Okay, and what value you have to choose, your value is coming from that list. Okay, what is the value of this variable? this value of this variable is sales1. And how to get the sales1? You will get child item, and inside the child item you will get name. Okay, inside the child item you will get name. So basically what you have to select here is you have to click on this one and you have to click current item. In this current item, because current item is only valid till your child items, right? Because uh, in this for each loop you have selected till child item, but inside child item there are two entities, one is name and another one is type. So you have to hit on type, so you will use dot name, right? So that is the thing. Okay, so this will set your current value, current name of the file. Okay, then what is the activity number 2? Activity number 3 is you will use copy activity, because you are so how you can go to the activity, how you can add the activity. So you can add the activity here. Once again you click on this for each loop. Okay, and you will use, okay, set variable, then you will use copy activity. Copy activity. Okay, and you can just link this copy activity. Okay, after set variable. So in this copy activity, what you are going to copy, you are going to copy the data from this file. Okay, so use a copy activity to move the file from source to destination. Okay, and you will use concatenation source file, okay, current file name as a source data set. Okay, got it? Because you will not copy everything, you will copy that current the data which is stored in current file. Okay, fine. So this is a bit tricky, but you would be able to do that. So basically in source, what you can do, you can just create a data set. Here's the data set, CSV is the file. Okay, and ds underscore, you can put like dynamic process file. Okay, because we are dynamically picking up the file. Okay, and then we are going to use input container, and then we are going to use the process file. So inside this process file, okay, we will hit on OK, and we will choose mm, this one. Okay, wait a moment. We will hit on OK as of now, right? And what we can do, we can go inside this data set and do some kind of parameterization. Okay, so what in parameter we can use this concat option, where instead of file name we will use value from this. Okay, so what we can do, we can use this parameter and we can use this okay, no, parameter is not required. Wait a moment. Add dynamic content. So instead of file name, okay, once again parameter has to be created, so we will put this file name, or put this. Okay, let's put the file name. Simple parameter is there, let's put the file name, and instead of this we will use file name. Simple. Okay, and when we are using this parameter here, instead of this file name we will use uh, again we will put the current dynamic, and we will put the variables. So this is the file name should be coming from current file name. Okay, so whatever value is stored in this current file name will be copied from here. Okay, and that's done, and it will load to the sync. So sync, we what we can do, we can create a folder, again CSV, we will put that in output. Okay, so ds underscore output underscore, okay, that's enough. I think this is already available. Output underscore process file. Second, process file. Okay, I will use link services and I will use this as a none. Okay, fine. And what you can do, we can put this, all the files stored here. Okay, and it should be none because this is of for the sync option. Okay, so your copy activity is done. And once the data is copied, what you are going to do, you are going to append the variable. We can use append variable because you have another variable created is of type array. So current variable will only hold the value, okay, one time. It will be overwritten again and again. Correct. It will be processing one file at a time, and that's the reason we are using current process variable. Okay, and then a processed file variable is an array. Array will give you the information what all file is stored. So what we can do, we will use this append variable option here. Okay, once this data is copied, so you can see sync is also ready. Okay, copy behavior. Okay, no need to bother about copy behavior. You can put like .csv instead of txt. Okay, and what you can do, I think you can put, okay, just a second. Uh, okay, here everything looks okay. Here also mapping. Okay, mapping you can do, or right now it's not required. Okay, now once it is completed, we will be using append variable. So you can see in our document. So in this append variable, what we are going to do, we are going to store the processed file name. So whatever file we have processed, that name will be stored. So we will use this activity as append file name. Okay, let's copy the name and make our task easier. Okay, append file name, fine. And in this setting, what we can do, we can use our variable which was created earlier, processed file. And why, you can see here, oh, we have created two variables, but in append variable only that variable will populate which is of type array. You can see this disclaimer also, append variable only support adding to the array type variables. Is that clear now? So now what is the value? The value we are getting from the this item dot name. Okay, from that name. So whatever item we have, current item, and in that current item, you know that there are two elements. We only need dot name element, right? So we will put dot name. Okay, so this is clear. Fine. So this is done. Now if we want to debug our pipeline, it should be, it can be debugged now. Correct. So if I go to our pipeline, this is our pipeline, and we can start debugging this pipeline. Okay, and we will wait for this to be completed. Okay, so now we can see that some of the job is getting successed. Okay, get metadata activity, and set variable is done. So it is doing a copy activity right now. Okay, and if you see the set variable, so first file has picked up in the set variable. Okay, now in this copy activity, it is in progress. So this has started. Oh, copy activity one is completed. Okay, one file has moved. Now another file, so another set variable has turned on. Another file is sales file 2. Okay, now it is running for sales file 2. Okay, it's still in queue. It will start for sales file 2, second file of sales. Okay, now let's see, it's still in queue, but let's check the data as well. So if I go to the container, if I go to the output container, you can see that first file has arrived. Okay, and as soon as it will start the next file, that file will also be completed. It is taking some bit longer time, but it will be completed. So let's wait for that completion to be done. Okay, so all the jobs are completed. So you can see uh, only, okay, this is done. Everything is completed. So you can see all your files will be moved to the output folder. Fine. So everything is moved with the help of the set variables and append variable. So if you want to check the value of append variable, okay, you can check also. Hmm, see, you can see the value has appended, okay, to the variables. Okay, so this clarifies the doubt between set variable and append variable, and we have used set variable option uh, to copy the data from source to destination, and we are finally appending the value in the variable. Okay, got it. So I think this will be more clear. Now we can easily publish this file. So let's publish this file. So once it is published, you would be able to run the pipeline or execute the pipeline. Okay. Okay. So in this case study, we are also, use this case study with the help of get metadata and for each loop. And we have used the concept of parameterization and variable. So this will clarify more number of options to be used with the help of these entities. Okay.